Hi there, folks. We're getting ready to jump into a video. I wanted to throw this at the beginning of the video after I started doing this video, and I realized all the stuff I've been recording. And I wanted to do this in the beginning to let you know there's a lot of really cool stuff at the end because I didn't leave well enough alone as I always do. So please stay till the end if you can. Fast forward if you want through the bike riding part. And we got Blake here. This is Blake. Blake the shop cat. Hopefully, come on. He's a purring son of a gun. He follows me around like a dog all the time. And I have a problem. I like cats, okay. I love dogs a lot. Cats are great for the farm place here and to keep the mice at bay, keep mice from chewing up things that I really like and want to keep in good shape. But sometimes they get under things, and some of the cats I usually never fails. The ones I end up liking, I end up accidentally hurting because farm accidents happen. But enough of that. Let's get Blake still here. That's good. We make a lot of modifications to this bike, and after I get back from my trip down to South Carolina and riding this in South Carolina, so stay tuned. There's a lot of really cool stuff I think coming up for the additions. I'm excited about it. That's why I decided to jump in and do this at the beginning and let you know there's more stuff to come on this bike in this video. Before I close it out, we'll be back near the end and keep on watching. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you, every one of you, very much. I got the best audience in the world. And yes, this is not a bike channel. I'm just doing a lot of cool bike stuff, and I wanted to share it with everybody. So on with the video. Hi there, folks, and welcome to another episode of Michael in the Backyard. Well, we're not in my backyard anymore. We're in somebody else's yard, but we're on vacation / working / recording, doing different things. By now, you've already seen the Carolina Classic Cars video, Deuce, the second one I've done. And while we're down here, I like to ride bikes, as you know now. And I was kind of curious about the cycling situation down here in the beautiful state of South Carolina. And I'm discovering that the roads and sidewalks and stuff in the upstate area are not cyclist friendly, but I have found some bike trails that I'd like to try. I did not bring a bike with me, although I did bring, hold it, wait for it. I brought my bike rack on the back of the car. As you've seen, I've installed a trailer hitch on the back of the boss's car so we could go traveling with it and take my bike rack. Well, on top of that, I decided, and there's been so much hype about, I hate to even bring the word up, Walmart, about their bikes and their quality of their bikes and, what their bikes are. And when I say their bikes, I only am talking about the Ozark Trail. I'm not talking about the Huffy. I'm not talking about the Schwinn. I'm not talking about any of the other bikes that they carry. So far, the Ozark Trail has been impressing a lot of people, depending on who you talk to. And it comes from a standpoint is, what is the Ozark Trail? What is it there for? What are they trying to do? Their full suspension mountain bike, which I can't get my hands on one because they don't have a large, I need a large frame. I don't need the medium or small frame. Those are still available online or at the store in some places. This particular bike right here, we're going to get into it. It's called, if you look it up, back in the 90s, they called these hybrids. Now they call them gravel bikes. They just keep changing the nomenclature. They just keep coming up with new things all the time. It's just doesn't have the small road tires, doesn't have the mountain bike tires. It's got something in between so that you could ride it on the road, go on a gravel packed trail, like a rails to trail situation. And I've been wanting one of these since I saw them. And why did I want this one? Well, I'm trying to, bikes can be very expensive. Your name brand bikes can be very expensive. Is this a name brand? Sure, it's a name brand of sorts, but they're not trying to come up with a name brand that's going to cost you moolah. So I want to look at this bike and see what it really is all about. I'm going to throw it on the back of this bike rack on the back of our vehicle, I'm going to go to a place that has some trails, some, flat trails, not mountain biking trails. This isn't a mountain bike. This is just a regular, let's ride it around the neighborhood. Let's ride it on some packed gravel areas, maybe a dirt road or two. And that's what this is all about. So I'm not sure why this says store in a cool, dry place, but that's okay. It's I see that a lot. I think it's a generic box thing for the most part, especially when you cut e-batteries. So we're going to cut into this thing. It says, don't cut open. Too late. Cutting has commenced. So we're going to put this together. I brought a handful of stuff with me in anticipation that I might do something crazy like this. I brought in a container here a mirror, a rear tail light, a phone mount, an air pump, a camera mount so I could take you guys for a ride with me, and a bag full of tools to be able to put a bike together. Not full of tools, but just some basic tools to unbox and put a bike together. So that's what we're going to do here today. We're going to get this undone. We're going to put it together. I'm taking you guys along with me for this little journey and see if this thing turns out to do something I want it to do or not. All right, let's get after it. All righty, let's rip into it. See what we got. Got the user manual here. Hopefully it teaches you how to ride a bike without crashing, because I could really use that. All right. This will be a bike with a box with components in it. Did I bring a set of? I thought I did. These come with their basic pedals. I think I brought a set of back pedals that I like. Did I throw them in the box? Don't think I did. Well, I might have to just install these pedals. All right. Now, what I really like about this bike, this is going to sound very stupid of me, but the color. I like the color of it. There's the first scratches. That's why I can't have nice things. Once you get the first scratches out of the way, it's all downhill from here. Good morning, everybody. We're out here at the Cottonwood Trail here in beautiful South Carolina. I got here a little bit early this morning. Sunrise isn't until 7:30. The park opens at 7, closes at 9, according to the website. So I'm here. Sunrise is supposed to be about 7:35, so it's about 7:10 right now. It's still a little too dark. It's not too dark to ride, but on a trail I'm unfamiliar with, I want to be able to see and anticipate a little more than I can with just my headlight. Now this headlight is on the lowest setting possible. On the highest setting, this headlight will cast out like a car headlight. Right now it's almost blinding me just to stand in front of the camera and talk to you guys. But I'm hoping to explore this trail. We're on the Ozark Trail bike that I just purchased this past week. This is the bike that you see me put together at the beginning of the video, obviously. And I've added a few more accessories to it. And once we get out on the trail and some sunlight's up, I'll go over the bike a little more with you. Maybe be able to get some good photos out here of it. This is just it's neat to be out here and listen to the woods and the surrounding area wake up because it's just leaves. You hear the leaves. It's so quiet to hear leaves starting to fall. Hear cars and vehicles off in the distance. This is not really off the beaten path, but it kind of is. It's on a little neighborhood road. It's got a nice parkway in front of it here. And looks like this part of the trail is paved. I have no idea how much of the trail is paved. This trail has several loops that we're going to explore today. Some of it will be in time lapse. I forgot my dead cat that goes over my mic to prevent wind noise. So I might ride a little bit with it on, but the wind noise is going to be bad, and I don't like wind noise on any videos, so I won't subject you guys to that same kind of pain in your ears. So I probably will do some voiceover, but we'll stop and talk along the way. So I think it's going to be a good time. I'm excited to get on this new bike and give it a whirl. I did about a 1 mile ride yesterday to kind of check things in, fine tune it, get the seat position right, and one of those type of things. But let's talk some more when the light is up and we can see a little bit better. All right, folks, we're going to get this party started. This looks like a paved trail, according to the legend I just took a picture of. This looks predominantly paved, maybe. Let's just ride it and see what we find. Beautifully paved part here. This is what it's all about, folks. Look at this scenery. This is beautiful right here. You just gotta stop and smell the roses every now and then. Now you look up there on this hillside, all up here through here, there's something we don't have up where I'm from in Iowa, or where I live, and it's called kudzu. Kudzu is a very prolific plant. It covers all the natural vegetation and trees, takes over and snuffs it out. It's kind of a problem down here in the south in areas. I gotta stop and show you this from the top. Look at this. Boy, just have that playing on your TV at night while you're going to sleep. The roar of the water. Who needs white noise when you got nature noise? So far, I gotta tell you, this bike has been, now, just keep in mind, I've gone 2 whole miles. So let's not get overly impressed too soon. But first impressions is it's a really nice riding bike. I watch a guy called Bike Farmer, and he calls this type of riding and this type of bicycling, this is a slow bike. And I don't mind a slow bike. So it looks like you go this way. It says please dismount at the cross bridge. Because this railing is low enough that if you were to make a mistake, you'd fall right off the bridge into the water. Hi there, folks. Welcome back a few days later. Well, we're on a trail now called the Swamp Rabbit Bike Trail on my Ozark Trail G1 Explorer from Walmart. So while I'm down here visiting people, I wanted to take the advantage of, here again, I ordered this bike, had it shipped to a location, put it together, added all my accessories I wanted to add to it, and we're going to go over that right now. So I have my phone holder here that is spring-loaded, rubber-mounted. It's all kinds of cool. And then I've got my Lazine 2400 plus Mega Drive headlight. I currently have on strobe mode for the trail. I've also added my turn signal tail light here. In case I get into traffic, I've got my little bell going on here to let people know that I'm somewhere on the trail and coming up behind them so I don't startle anybody. I've added my rear view mirror. All these things will be in a link down below. Also added this bike rack. I really like this bike rack. It's a pack rack clip-on system. There'll be a link below for that as well. We also have the Rock Bros saddlebags. Michael, why do you have saddlebags? Well, I have to put camera equipment on, like this stuff right here. I have to carry some of this stuff with me. And if I find some cool stuff along the trail, I got places to store it. I also carry a couple of energy bars in there in case I need them or in case somebody else needs them. Now, one thing I did recently when I put this together, as I ordered them, because I went through some puddles and I wanted to keep myself cleaner, I put on these fenders and they fit really, really well. They are made by Planet Bike. They're very nice to install, very nice bracketry. They're a plastic fender, lightweight. And the last but not least, the Rock Bros, almost last, bottle holders. But then I put on these, it's hard to see the name, GEWAGE pedals, CNC bearings. These things are buttery slick, folks. And they got nice tall replaceable spikes on here. I'll just ride in a regular shoe and they bite in really good on that. There's no slip. This bike is sporting the Shimano Altus shifter. It shifts crisp and clean. So far, folks, I've had this bike now, I put 10 miles on it so far. It's been a really good bike so far. For the money. This is I think a $278 bike. I ordered it from Walmart.com, had it shipped, and I put it together, and I've been riding it. And the tires, the Kenda tires, they got a little bit of a noise to them because they are a mostly knobby style tire. You can switch these up with a smooth tread, quieter tire, but this has also got a steel front fork with extra lugs on it, so if you wanted to put a pack up here, you could. It also is pre-drilled for some different types of things you want to put on here. If you need to route some more cables, you can do that. How you doing?
Doing good.
Howdy, howdy. I've already seen more people on this bike trail in the first 10 minutes of being on it than I did the whole 11 miles I rode on the other trail I rode the other day. But it's beautiful out. We're in a fall day here in October. The leaves are starting to change here in South Carolina. And this is, like I said, the Swamp Rabbit bike trail system here. It's like a rail to trail. It's very flat, very low percent grade. But we're going to switch you over to the handlebars here and put you on time lapse. We'll take you on a ride together with me. And we'll talk more when I'm done. Alrighty, folks, we're back here in the shop, back home after our trip. And I have to say that this Ozark Trail G1 Explorer bike, aka a gravel bike, road bike, in-between bike, whatever you want to call it, is actually, I'm pretty happy with it. I can't deny it. Blake down here, he's got his opinions, and back here behind me, we got Faye. Come here, Faye. This is Faye. This is a new member of the family here, just like this bike is. And she was a pup we found. Somebody was rehoming down while we were on vacation, and we couldn't resist. She is supposed to be maybe a Merle poodle, but she's smaller than the rest of our poodles that we have. We have 4 other standard poodles, a mom and dad and the 2 siblings. They're 2 kids or 2 pups and their siblings that we have, Merc and Lucy. You guys have probably seen those on the video before. And she's a new member of the family. This is Faye, and she's been a really good pup so far. She traveled very well. She's very curious. She follows me everywhere, just like old Blakey here does. But there again, this bike, there's a few changes I want to make to it yet. And I think one of them is going to be this chain ring here. I feel it could stand to be geared just a little bit lower, in my opinion. It is, I don't know what I want to say. Watch out, Blake. I got plenty low gear for riding on the road. But when it came to do some climbs, there were some times I wish I had just one gear that was just a little bit lower. And I think I might have one of those. We're going to look here real quick. I think this is the same size, though. Pretty sure it is. I'll have to count the teeth. Let's get it up here on the rack. Do some counting. But everything I've done to this bike I really liked. It was a really good ride. I put 30 miles on it so far. Riding some trails down in South Carolina, as you guys have seen. And one of the things that I wish is that the handlebars were just a little bit taller, and primarily to get me in more in an upright seating position. And I'm not thinking I want a lot. This is a lot. This is a little. This came off my other e-bike that I put higher bars on. And maybe, just maybe, this little bit of up and back, that's going to be about identical. That's not going to be much of a change. But I did put the higher rise bars on. These are wider too. My curiosity is if I have enough cable. I know I have enough brake cable. I think there's enough here to make it happen. So we're going to go ahead and switch that out. Why? Well, because I can. And I want to. I just want to change this geometry up a little bit. For me. Now this bike right out of the box, great bike. The Shimano Altus derailleur in the rear works really well. It's very sharp, very crisp. It's not it's not Shimano's top of the line stuff by any stretch of the imagination, but it does seem to work really well. And I talked to another guy on the trail, very knowledgeable person. There again, was into bikes. He had a really, really nice Cannondale e-bike, and he was 60. How old is he? He's been in retirement for 5 years. He was over 60, I know that. But he likes that bike a lot. And now, keep in mind, that particular bike was north of $5,000. Yeah, it's an expensive bike. Because I had made the guess, I said, that's at least a $5,000 bike minimum. He goes, one of his buddy that was riding with him, he goes, yeah, on sale maybe. And so yeah, but there again, he said he likes that bike a lot. He has been riding it for a while. Did some long rides too. And I asked him, I said, how long does the battery last? And he goes, I haven't ridden long enough to wear the battery down on eco mode. I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. He goes, it's afforded me to be able to do things I normally wouldn't be able to do at my age. Enjoy the ride with his buddies. And so e-bikes have their place. And I agree 110% that they do. Because I have one and I enjoy it. I also enjoyed, just not having to worry about a battery. Like when I went for a ride on this bike, for instance, riding trails, I knew it was only up to me and my energy to get it done. And guys, if you guys have hung out with the video this long, I mean, this has been multifaceted video. I try to bring you guys, what I would call some decent entertainment. I'm not out there to set the world on fire with my awesome videos. I just like to share a little bit of my life with you folks. Because what I've noticed is my audience is some of the best people on earth. There again, like I've mentioned it before, all the links for all this. It's like Faye and the kit, and you're gonna knock my camera over, aren't you? Faye and Blake are getting to know each other. This is the first time they're really hanging out. What do you think, Faye? You having fun with Blake? Now, we didn't name Faye. That was her name that when we got her. And we decided we like that name just fine. We didn't want to change her name and bring any more stress into her life than need be. But she's been a magnificent pup so far. I'm not sure what food she was getting when we first got her, but whew. I don't know. There isn't a name strong enough to describe what her dog farts smelled like. My gosh. I'll tell you a little story. And I have some pretty vivid dreams every now and then, and for some reason I had an alligator. There was an alligator that was loose. Its mouth had become untaped somehow, and it was wreaking havoc in an area, and I need to get something to tie this straight. I know where to work. That'll probably work. I'm gonna go get it. There's your bed there, Faye. I brought a bed out for you to relax in. Since you're the only other pup that really likes to come in here besides Lucy, let's see if I can do a little... Whoops, wrong way. Wrong way. Don't worry, I'll get to the alligator story. Just hang on, folks. This is a little bit of something that gets you guys to know me a little bit about me, I guess. Can I just do this, maybe? And maybe a little bit of this, and a little bit of that. That'll hold it there for me. Those handlebars are now precision because they have a ground finish. Those of you that understand machinist-ease will think that's funny as all get out. This little air trick works really nice for getting these handlebars grips off. And I really like these grips. They're not bad at all. There we go. A little weird sound. Didn't scare Faye at all. She's like, my daddy makes noise. He gonna make a lot of noise. We in the shop now, folks. We in the shop now. Alligator story. So anyway, I was sleeping. Faye was sleeping up there with the boss and I. And she'd been having whatever food they were feeding her before was, let's just say it wasn't melding well with her system. And we feed her the dog food we've always been feeding her. And naturally, changing a dog's diet, it's kind of rough on a dog's system. They have to get things just ain't what it should be. But it was just terrible. So much so, it would wake you up out of a dead sleep. And that's where our story begins. I had a dream that there was an alligator that was loose, that had its mouth. Yeah, this will actually fit. Sweet. This bike just got a whole lot better. And I was wrestling this alligator. And I got it wrestled and grabbed. It was like a 6-footer, not a real big one, a real 6-footer. And it was very vivid. And I got it trapped up, and I got some tape. I didn't have any tape, the regular black tape, duct tape, but I had some medical tape. So I wrapped some medical tape around this thing's mouth and got it secured. And after I got it secured and everything was hunky-dory again, make sure I get this on the right way here. Once that looks right, I was all satisfied I had left the room, as it were. Boy, is this going to be, I'm afraid these cables are going to be, hoofda. Come back around here. There we go. There we go. Oh, I think we're going to be all right. Just all right. Anyway, I come back in the room a little while later, and the gator's just laying there like I left it with his mouth all taped up. And all of a sudden, the smell in my dream hits me like a brick wall. And I'm just thinking, oh, man, gator farts are the worst. And it was one of those so strong. And I'm thinking, oh, yeah, because they got to stink. The farts have to stink. They eat nothing but putrid stuff all the time. And then I woke up to the world's grossest smell in our room. And it was just the dog's gas. Yeah, it was brutal. But I persevered. We're all right. She's all right. There she is laying down over there being a good puppy. And Blake's over here rubbing all on my legs. We were gone for a couple of weeks, and sure he missed me. But yeah, that was my gator story. All right, that's going to be about perfect. That's going to get this handlebars up in a position that I can tolerate a little better. I'm toying with the idea of putting a suspension fork on here too. I put one on the Concord e-bike, and so far it changed the geometry a decent amount, but also put the higher rise bars on it higher than these. These are only 90 rise. I think that's what it says, or 75. I got it covered up now. 5-degree sweet back. Buckalos brand is the brand. I'll leave a link to these in the description. Now, none of these are sponsored items, folks. I just want to let you know that. Nothing in this video is sponsored. Nothing from Walmart. Nothing from any of the components you see me putting on this bike are sponsored. See, that looks about right. Looks centered. That B is not quite centered, though. I think that B is my center point. See if I can. Oh, locks in pretty good. There we go. What are you doing, Blake? You biting me? Now, me buying a bike is the beginning. Some people will buy a bike and they'll just ride it just the way they bought it, and they're just happy as a lark. Me, I like to customize it, and when I say customize, it's to fit me better. Because if the ride's more enjoyable, the fact that you're going to get out and do it is going to be more enjoyable. But if that bike hurts you, or makes your back hurt, or your hands fall asleep, or any kind of weird stuff like that, I shouldn't say weird stuff. That's just what can happen. That can make it make you not want to ride it so much. Look at those two. They're funny. All right, these handlebars are a bit wider too, which for my chest width actually are going to feel better. I noticed that right out of the gate when I did that to the other bike. So I'm actually pretty excited about this. Now, fortunately, this brake cable feels like it's going to be just long enough. It's not a suspension fork, so wherever it's at is where it's at. Whoa, I shot the grip off the other side. Did not see that one coming. Should have, but I didn't. Sorry, you guys just getting to see my back is all. Where'd that grip go? There it is. Found it. You guys can stop looking now. Now that side's open, so it shouldn't fly off again. Thing's like, what kind of noises are you making, huh? What you doing there, man? I'm shooting this video with my new tripod. It's a shorter tripod, but I'm also using my wide angle lens on my 13 because I got tired of my Hero 12s shutting off due to overheating, because I do put those in a case so I can have this media mod on there, I guess you call it, that allows me to have this. Drop my hand. Drop my tool. Allows me to have decent sound quality. At least that's what I strive for. Alright. And the whole time I was riding this bike, I was just, when I rest too much pressure on my hands, and that's where maybe a ram's head style bar with arrow grips, and you could do. There's so many options out there, guys and gals. All right, I think we got that where we want it. We'll put this back where I want it. I'm gonna set this on the ground real quick before I sit. Just take a sit on it. Ugh. Well, Blake, move, you silly cat. Okay, oh yeah. Yeah, that puts it in a, oh wow. That changes the whole geometry of things. By bringing them bars up and toward me, I can actually put more weight on the seat. I think I want those about right there. I almost want to throw those up a little more. I think I will. Where's the wrench? So I always try not to over tighten everything just too much, so I can get it in position, and then I'll lock it in. Oh yeah, this is better, because one thing I noticed when I was down that much lower, when I had my head up, it was putting a crank in my neck that wasn't comfortable. Didn't hurt, but also my visor on my helmet, I had to keep, it was blocking some of my vision, but I like the visor just from the sunshine. Oh yeah. Yeah, this is sweet. Heartbreaking part about today, or this, I shouldn't say heartbreaking, but bicycling season is winding down pretty quick. High today of 55. It's late October right now. And fall is a beautiful time to get out and ride. But the temperatures, gotta dress a little warmer if you want to survive it, okay? So far, so good. Alright. I got everything where I want it. Coming up in a future video, I bought a lot of bikes lately, a lot of now I didn't spend a lot of money on some of these bikes. They were just, I don't even call them garage sale bikes. They were Facebook Marketplace bikes. And I wanted to have some bikes that would, a variety, let's call it, because I was going to modify my one original mountain bike, but I kind of like to leave it just the way it is, because it is kind of a unique bike. And the fact that it's from the late 90s, it was my old mountain bike, which was still a very nice bike, don't get me wrong. I actually took it for a ride with a group of people the other day, and it was a good time. But also saw some of the new innovations, and we're going to go over that in that video of what's changed over the last 2 decades plus on bikes and geometry and different things like that to make them, let's just say, maybe a better ride out of the whole deal. Now this little bell I like. You don't even know you got a bell on your bike. It's just really kind of slim. Just a hoop. It kind of fits in with the geometry of the bike. It's just, now you guys might think the bell's silly. Why do you need a bell on a bike? Well, if you do any trail riding, for those that don't know about trail riding or do trail riding, it's handy when you're coming up behind somebody. And for whatever reason, there are people out there that will, there we go, will have their headsets on. You can see that they're on, playing their music, walking right down the middle of the trail, right down the middle, when it's clearly wide enough almost to drive a car on. But they'll walk right down the middle for whatever reason, and they don't really pay attention to what's going on. And the bell is usually seems to have been loud enough. Oh, sorry, that was the horn on this little doohickey. Yeah, there we go, that's tight. That's for my turn signal and stuff. Okay, we got the bike back together with the new handlebars on it. But it's not safe. If you're in a public area, you can't be aware of your surroundings. Yes, you're on a bike trail, a walking trail, and it shouldn't be anybody else causing any grief for you. But you still need to be aware of your surroundings, because you could have a group of bicyclists. Oops, I need a different wrench for that. Group of bicyclists that aren't paying attention, and they run right over you by accident. It's always an accident. Just going around and snugging up a few things now that I've ridden it some. Just double checking. Yeah, my front wheel, when I was riding, I had noticed the front wheel. I grabbed the brake and I saw it kind of tweaking a little bit. I'm like, what's going on? And this here, it's settled in, must have settled in, because she spins pretty good. She's not loose. And I had to retighten my skewer. My front tire was not playing well with others, so to speak. All right. One thing I might do is put a little different saddle on this bike. It's not bad. But people aren't aware of their surroundings, and they can get in trouble. And the bell is there. I eventually get there, folks. I do. The bell is to go, and you go on your left. The bell will get their attention, and sometimes you'll hear them. They know what the bell is if they've been on trails a decent amount of time, and they'll actually just move over to the right. But you could have been riding to the right, but also if they're already over to the right side of the trail, I still ding the bell, and I don't hit this horn because the horn's annoyingly loud. That'd be more for traffic, but at least lets them know I'm coming up behind them. And I try not to go too fast by them. Sometimes depending on what part of the trail you're on, you can be hitting 15 miles an hour on a regular bike pretty easily, which for somebody walking, oh man, almost want to put on a coat and go for a ride. This is going to be awesome. This changes that whole geometry of this bike. Well, folks, if you watched this far into the video, what's about to happen next is going to be absolutely no surprise to you. I have purchased a suspension fork. This is made by Bucklos, B-U-C-K-L-O-S, Bucklos. And it says right on it, Use only for leisure cross country. Do not use for free ride downhill, dirt jumper, or any hard riding. This is a light duty air fork designed for casual riding and making your, as what's his name, Andy on what's the channel name, Bike Farmer, calls a slow bike. So what we're gonna do in the middle of all my other projects I'm in the middle of, we're gonna go ahead and pull this fork off and put this fork on. When I had this bike before I put it all together, I actually ended up just, wow, that wasn't as tight as it should have been. Wow, I can't believe that was that loose. I swear I checked all these bolts. That wasn't tight either. Did I miss that when I put this together? I rode it 30 miles with that part, the caliper not being very tight. Let's see here. It's like this cable's gonna have to come out of here too. But like I said, this should come as no surprise to anybody that's known me for a few minutes. And I can't just leave well enough alone. All right. But I wanted to be able to put, I've ridden it. I don't know where I'm going with this conversation. Let's start over. This has got the fender on it. We're going to go ahead and pull the front wheel off of it. But anyway, I bought this front fork because I liked, when I was trail riding with the bike, and I love the bike. It's actually a really, 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 really nice riding bike for the price. Now the price keeps going up just for the simple fact I keep putting more stuff on it. But I also like to make bikes enjoyable to ride for myself. And the way it was, very rideable bike for the price. Don't get me wrong. I'm just making modifications like when I put this riser bar or riser handlebars on it. I'm just making it better for me. Because I know what's out there and what's available, and I wanted to make it better. So, that's what we're doing now. I'm going to put this suspension fork on it. And there again, I don't know how good the Bucklow suspension fork is. I've got it on another bike, and I really like how the bike rides with it on there. And when you're out riding, and some of the trails, and these are paved trails I've been on. Some of these paved trails I've been on, it can catch you off guard when you're in some shadows, tree covered areas, and the roots on the trail are making the asphalt buckle, and you may or may not notice it. It happens. It just plain happens. See if I can do this without banging up my paint anywhere is my goal. Everything's really new on this bike yet, so everything should just come apart very easily. Now in these bikes, these particular bikes, they're not going to have a sealed roller bearing as part of the assembly. It's just going to be an open bearing. There we go. It's apart just that fast and easy. Now the problem we are going to have is like I had before, is that little star washer in there that sucks everything together. I don't have any spares. I keep forgetting to get some more of those. I have to do like I did on the last one. I'll just drive it on through, and we'll make sure we get all this pulled apart and set back on the new fork the way it came off of this fork. We got to get this little bearing right here. Got to get this bearing right here off. Now, some people might be thinking, wow, that fork's not as heavy as this fork. The thing is, this is steel, this is aluminum. They weigh exactly the same. I'm not adding any weight to the bike, which is a beautiful thing. All right, I'm going to go ahead and I got to take this fender off. And I'm not getting rid of these forks. I keep the forks because I may put it back on the bike in sometime in the future. Or I may not, because I like it without it. I like the suspension. The other cool part is I've got a way to put, I'm working on it anyway. Well, we're going to have a rail wrench for that. So much for being scratch free. That's why I can't have nice things. Oh man. Rash that up. Rash that up. Golly. Sometimes I even disappoint myself. We'll set it up here again just like I had it because that was so successful the first time. Okay, now we gotta get this bearing off of here. I want to show you how I did the last bearing. There again, no harm, no foul, I guess. There was some harm, but still no foul. I'm calling it. I don't know what I'm saying, I'm just saying things. Okay. Trying to get a thin edge to pop that bearing up. How tight did they press this one on, I wonder? There we go. We got it to move. And once it moves a little bit, it moves pretty easy so far. It's been my experience. Get enough gap in there with my little putty knife. I can take my, my other type of chisel here and kind of just give it a little screwdriver twist and get it popped up off of there. Oh, come on. There we go. I'll be honest with you, I've taken a front fork off of my Bianchi over 2 decades ago. Still got the front fork that came off of it. I don't know why. I don't intend to ever put it back on. It's not going to happen. We'll stick this one away now. Now that race rolls right up on here. Doesn't even touch this flat area, so I'll be able to use that flat area to drive this back on. So this will go right down here. There again, that last little bit. Being as I don't have the precise piece of tubing to put over that, I'll just do it this way. And it'll work. Alright, that's fully seated. Go ahead and set that dust seal and that bearing right back in place. That's ready to go up into place. I will add some more grease to it. But now I got to get that little star washer out of there, out of the old fork. Not that I needed red, because red doesn't blend in with anything else on the bike unless I get like a red water bottle. That'd be like an accent piece. But we're also not doing home interior decorating here, guys and gals. We're just doing things. We'll go ahead and make some of this stuff happen since I got to get those other pieces coming, or stop by the local bike shop. Now, interesting story today. I was stopped by a local bike shop after work. When I say local, it was 18 miles away from where I work, but it was kind of neat because it's called Hall Bicycle in Cedar Rapids. I bought a total of 5 bikes from there. over two decades ago. And you might be saying, Michael, why are you telling us this? Well, I was talking to another guy named Mike there. Really nice guy, sales guy. He's been there about, he said 6 years, and then he said 7 years, and maybe 8 years. I said, time flies when you're enjoying yourself then. I said, that's a good thing. And, but anyway, we got to talking about, I noticed up on the wall, the sign up on the wall, Hall's Bicycle since 1898. 1898. You know, just well over 100 years old. And it was just so neat to see that. Because you don't see that. I said, gosh, it's got to be one of the oldest bicycle shops around. And he said, it's the second oldest bicycle shop in Iowa. Which I thought was pretty cool. And the fact that bicycle shop had spent a generous amount of its life on 2nd Avenue there in Cedar Rapids. This is in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, folks. And I thought that was pretty fascinating. And then he also told me, we got to talking about bikes and different things. And wow, that's just, well, I'm tightening that down enough, I guess, huh? Don't need to get that any tighter. I was doing the wrong thing. I was supposed to be tightening this guy. Duh. But he was talking about during 2020, you know, everybody knows the old C word that was going on at the time, and how their inventory, they always had a big inventory of bikes. Way back when I bought a couple of 5 bikes I bought from them, they just had a tremendous inventory of bikes. Now, one thing I'm going to do here, I'm going to take the other pedal off, and I want to feel how this bearing feels down here. If it feels like a decent bearing or not. Got to do that while we're at this level, as long as we're pulling things down. But anyway, he said that during that time, you know, bikes were hard to come by. Or they had I shouldn't say hard to come by. They had 300 bikes in inventory. And after 2020 hit, they had 10. They couldn't get bikes fast enough. Everything was shut down. But anyway, I thought that was very interesting how, you know, how long that bike's been around, or that bike shop's been around, and the things that it's seen over the years. You know, think about the owner. One of the owners that I know that has since retired and unfortunately since passed. He had a patch over one eye. He had lost his eye not in his youth so much, because he showed me a picture of himself on a little BMX type bike or a little bicycle way back when, and there was an owl sitting on the handlebars. And he goes, you know who that is? I'm like, no. He goes, well, I didn't always have this patch on my eye. He goes, that's me when I was like 8 years old or something like that. And it's always stuck with me because he was a really cool guy, super nice guy. But he had a pet owl, and he said that pet owl would ride everywhere, standing on his handlebars. How cool is that? So I thought that was a pretty neat thing. And then but he lost his eye when he was on a Christmas, I think it was a Christmas Eve or a day before Christmas, 2 days before Christmas, you know, the day before I guess would be Christmas Eve, right? He was getting bikes strapped onto the top of a station wagon, I believe he said, with bungee cords. And the bungee cord snapped and hit him right square in the eyeball. And took his eye out. Those bearings don't feel bad. They're smooth enough. I'm not gonna mess with them. Anyway, that's how he had lost his eyesight and was wearing a patch in his later years. All right. I gotta sit in about the same spot. That actually sits out a lot further. What's that going to do for my chain angle? It's not too bad when it's in its low gear or high gear. Low gear, it's not going to be awesome. We're going to think about this one for a minute, because what's happening is this gear sets, this whole thing sets out further than the original one does. From this face to where the chain ring is, from that face, this one sits further to the, sticks out further, and I don't want it to stick out further. I'm gonna have to fire my camera guy, because he keeps forgetting to check things. Well, I just learned when I forgot to check the sound on my mic to make sure it was working. I thought it was working, and for some reason it just decided not to record any of my stuff. Right now we're putting so you're coming out of voiceover into real stuff again right here. Hope this screw is short enough to not bottom out. I might have to shorten it. Oh no, it looks like it's going to work. They tapped that plenty deep. All right, we're in business to be in business. So I'm going to go ahead and bring this all the way up. It looks like it could come all the way up. Yeah, that's all the way up. It's not going to clear the tire by a lot. Let's see here if that's going to be able to work for me. I think so. All right, we carefully sanded off about 4 threads worth of length off of here. So these are designed to, they slide in here, they pinch. It seems to be an okay design. It doesn't make a lot of noise. As you can see, these are way longer than they need to be right now. So this actually would go on here like this. So a lot of little fine tuning we got to do here. So that's that side. And some people might go, fenders are stupid. Well, that's, everybody's entitled to their opinion, even if it's wrong. I like fenders. Not on everything. My mountain bike doesn't have fenders. On my road bikes, yeah, I do. I like fenders. So we're going to go ahead and get this closer to tight. Oh. Now this has a nylock nut already built into this piece. Yeah, that's going to be kind of tight right there. This can come down at any angle. But I want to make sure I miss my brake cable over here. There, it doesn't interfere with the brake at all. Yeah, that looks much better. And we can get something in there about like yay. Making progress. And I wouldn't have to run a front fender on this bike. I rode the other Concord in the background over there that's over here somewhere. So you can probably see it in the background. I rode it the other day on a bike ride with a group. Early morning ride. Cold. Oh my gosh, it was cold. 34 degrees. Now some of you are probably going, that's not cold. But I don't have all the proper gear yet to ride a lot of cold weather. Okay. That's approximately back in place for the last time, maybe. See if I got enough forward slide on these to get this fender tucked down a little tighter against the wheel. Kind of looking, it's not going to follow. This would actually need to be up a little taller to follow the wheel. But so what I look for then is getting a gap here and a gap back here looking similar, so it don't look goofy. So I like when I look down on the bike, I look at things. I like to look down and see, especially if it's supposed to be symmetrical, to make sure it kind of is. So if you see it, other people can see it, especially if you get into a group of people that really knows their stuff. And you don't want to look terrible while riding with those guys. Okay, that's pretty snug there. I think we got everything as snug as I want to get it. All right, the good news is that all works, and that seems pretty solid, pretty rigid for that portion. I put my phone mount back on here. I'm working with Lamicall right now because I like these phone mounts. They're nice. But see if they can maybe do a little sponsorship with me. Send me a couple more because I've bought 5 myself already. Alrighty. Now, for something I'm kind of proud of, somebody's going to think this is just the stupidest thing they've ever seen in their life, but that's okay. I'm going to get you up tight and close here. This new camera stand is working fantastic. Doesn't mean I can make sure the mic is working. Doesn't make sure I always hit record. Yeah, I had to just double check when I said that, make sure the red light's flashing. So, everything's loose right now on here. I didn't tighten anything up, but because I wanted to show you what I did to get this to work. The original sprocket, I got to show you that. The original sprocket on this bike was a 38 tooth. It says right there, 38 tooth. Steel, I think. Maybe not. Yeah. Steel. I like the wide angle lens on this because it helps me stay in the shot. Even if I'm way over here, you can still see me when I'm not dead center. So a steel sprocket would have lasted forever on this bike. It is just a narrow tooth, whereas this sprocket here is a fat, thin, which in rough terrain, not necessarily going to be riding this in rough terrain, it will keep the chain on better. Has a nice little tinny plastic screwed on with a couple 5 Phillips screws on it. This was 175 length crank arm. I like running 170s. That might sound immaterial, but all my bikes run 170s. This had a 175, which can give you a little more leverage, but also changes your crank stroke by a little bit. All that being said, I wanted to change it to a smaller sprocket because when I was riding in South Carolina on some trails, there's a couple of climbs on those paved trails that were pretty steep, and I was like pedaling, and I like to stay seated when I pedal because it's less stressful on the bike. If I stand up, my 260 pounds stands up on the bike and pedals, it puts a lot of extra stress on the bike that I don't want to put stress on. And eventually, over time, it can cause things to crack and break, and it's just not a positive outcome when you stress it like that. So I like to grab another gear and keep my cadence and keep my spin to climb up a hill while seated. That's going to sound crazy, but that's the way I like to ride. That's just my style, and not everybody's the same. So I bought this Bucklos because the same company that put the front fork on is Bucklos. I'm not sponsored by them at all. They're getting Bucklos. If you're watching, send me some stuff, buddy. Been buying your stuff, so send it. Get your word out there a little more. They're not what I would call super high end, super robust, super heavy duty stuff. But for the normal 95% of the country that rides bikes, the stuff will work just fantastic for them, is what I've noticed so far. So, not a paid advertisement. So what I did here to get this, the difference on these two sprocket locations between the crank, the taper, and the chain ring is different from the factory end and this one. And what happened when you get down here looking at it from this end, when you look down the chain part on the factory one, it puts it about where this one's at. Well, before with this one going on there, it put it way over here. So when I tried to go up on this top gear and being on this front chain ring, it was cross-chained really hard. It's called cross-chaining. And it would allow, this thing here was making some bad noises. But now I've got it so it's quiet. Now nothing here is tight. Nothing is in its permanent tightness, so to speak. I haven't even got this drawn up on the taper. And the reason I didn't put that on the taper, I'm going to show you what I did. You guys are going to think this is crazy. And I'm going to tell you why I did it. And I also have the, let's just say, the capability of doing it. Not everybody has that same capability. But I want to share with you what I did. And you might know a buddy that can help you do something like this if you need to. So I've got the nuts here on the back side, a bolt here. Normally, let me show you the type of bolt it would normally have on it. This is my very piled up with multiple projects going on at the same time workbench. We're going to get this cleaned up here shortly. I got a couple projects to finish up. So these, and you're going to think I'm making this up. You can go on McMaster Car, which is a website that sells fasteners. They sell all kinds of stuff. It's the manufacturing environment's dream. It's I call it the convenience store of parts. They're not cheap, but they're available, and you get them really, really fast. Everything I order from them, I can get next day, just because I think where I'm located and where the warehouse is. So this is normally what you use. Trying to get it worked here. This is normally what you use to put this sprocket onto here. This is what it comes with. Normally this sprocket or chain ring would be on the inside of here, piloted. And there again, the pilot isn't the strength of it, so to speak, as much as these bolts are. And what they do is they pilot into the diameter. And there's enough left over when you tighten it all the way down. Like this. This has a little knurl that bites in. This has a hex in the inside. And it sandwiches the gear together with the crank and locks it in place, acts as a pin and a bolt at the same time. You're going to think I'm lying, but these are called sex bolts. When I say they're called that, when you go on McMaster Car, you can get on McMasterCar.com and type in sex bolts, and guess what? You'll get something that looks very similar to this that pops up. So I got on there thinking, okay, I need to space this over. Keeping these right here. I need to space this over a ways, and I need to put bushings in here to space it out, and I need the bolts to make up that difference. Well, I looked at the sex bolts that would be the right millimeter to do all the things I needed to do, and it was going to cost me $17 a piece. And I'm like, nah, I think I can do something better. So what I did, I'm going to take one apart here for you to show you, is I bought, because I haven't got all these final tight yet, because I was there again just test fitting before I showed you guys this stuff. I took a regular, these are metric bolts that I bought that actually fit the idea of these bushings, which is the OD of these other previous bolts that I showed you that do all the piloting and everything. So what I did is I took a regular bolt, excuse me, turned it down on the lathe to pilot into that piece there. Then I took the nut and I chucked that up in the lathe and I turned it down half the nut away so that pilots onto the, as you can see here, there's a gap here. And that pilots onto the chain ring. And In that case, I can actually put it all together. It pilots on both sides. And when I tighten this up, I've got a really solid, locked in, centered up, concentric chain ring in the space that I need it in. Cool? Cool. And you also got to make sure you have space here. I'll show you the other space. This space, I had it hit right here once already before I got it trimmed up a little bit. But you got to, this here had on the, it had like this much space, a whole bunch of space here from the original to what I was doing, which brought, because it was way out here, I needed to get it back. The bolts, the nut side just does start to touch here. So I'm going to have to relieve that just a little, not this, but relieve the other thing a little more. And am I worried about this rusting? No, it's aluminum underneath. So it's just another battle scar from doing things. I did put a different bottom bracket in here to try to shift things over. And it did shift it in some, but not enough. So piece by piece, part by part, we're getting it done. So I'm going to go ahead and tighten up all the hardware. And get it in its final position, locked down. I'm going to do a little final polishing on the back sides of this to make sure I have clearance. Then I'll be able to suck the center bolt down, put the chain in, and then I won't be cross-training. And after I get done with that, I'll show you the final results. So we'll be back here in just a little bit. All right, there it is, installed in place. I've got these locked down. I finished sanding off a little bit of the backside so it clears this right here, but everything runs really tight, really close. Now, if I wanted to run a bigger chain ring on here, I'm going to run into trouble right here, but we're going to take it out for a test ride, and I wanted to show you this real quick. And you probably don't know this or wouldn't even think about this, so I'm going to see if I can get the shot here without getting my camera tangled up in the sprockets and the spokes. But now, when I'm all the way down, you look at this angle, you know, there's a little bit of, there's more severe angle this way than there will be up here, but that's okay because this is when you're already at cruising speed, you're just applying light pressure to the pedals just to keep things momentum going. But then when you go, whoa, you're touching things here, you gotta be careful. But when I'm all the way up, I've got a really good angle on that, so I can apply a lot of pressure there. I'm gonna look at it myself here down the chain ring. But there again, there is a slight angle, but you know, it's kind of a split in the difference between is what I was going for here. And that's what I needed to do. So I'm very pleased with this situation. Very pleased. All right. Here again, it's one of those things when you're messing with stuff, go back and double. Yeah, I didn't tighten it. Double and triple check. Now I'm excited to get this on there to see how well it can climb. And I'm also going to be able to, I'm kind of curious when I'm pedaling at speed, how much gear do I have left when I get down to the, 32 tooth down to the 11 on the back. And also experiencing this front fork the way it is, having some shock absorption. All right. So as you can see here, the wheel speed versus pedal speed, it's going to give me some serious climbing capabilities, which is nice. In case I decide to go just do some mild off-road, this is not a mountain bike. And take a look at some things. Now that I've got everything kind of where I want it, let's pick up some tools. I did take 2 full links out of the chain too when I switched it because I wanted to make sure I still had tension when you're, let me show you here. When you're on the bottom ring, you still want to have some tension here. There's not a lot. This thing here runs really close to the chainstay now. But I'll tell you what, the Shimano Altus here that's on this bike, I talked to the one guy, like I said, I think I might have said it early in the trail or early in the video on the trail, talking to him about, these entry level Shimano stuff, Shimano, tomato. Works really well. It actually, it's crisp when you're shifting. It's like grab a trigger, it's just right there. Does what it wants, what you need it to do. All right. Now this bike, because of this front fork, does not feel any heavier. It is, let's see here. It does have a little higher profile when I sit on it now, but this is a very plush feeling front end. And a lot of times what I'll do is I'll roll this O-ring down, and when you're riding, and if you have used, let's see, I'm going to just get off of it right here. When I sit on it, I'm getting about, just put my weight on it, and just like I'm going to be riding it, and pop off, I'm compressing about 1 inch right there. But yeah, that's going to feel fantastic. I'm excited to take this for a quick spin. Oh, about crashed. All right. Well, that low gear is low. I like it. That low gear is nice and low. Something feels weird. I can't put my finger on it. But it's not weird. This foam mount's throwing me off for visualization of the front end. Otherwise, everything feels pretty good. I know what it is. The fender's off a little bit. I can make that adjustment. That's what looks funny. But yeah, this low gear. So if you're on some, let's just call it some smaller, whoa, walnuts are terrible out here. Well, this is going to make it so easy to do some steeper climbs. I can just apply the pressure and get after it. Oh yeah, that's what I wanted. I couldn't do that before. No way. And I dropped down in the middle of the ring range. It's a nice feel. Oh yeah. The front end feels spectacular. But yeah, I can grab all the way up to that top gear and get my climb on. Yes, much better. All right, a few final words on the old Ozark Trail G1 Explorer. I like the bike a lot. The price point of $278, come on, you can't beat it. It's now right out of the box, I rode it right out of the box, just the way it was. Only thing I changed was the pedals, because I don't like plastic pedals. I like something that's going to bite into my shoe and keep me locked on. Fenders, obviously optional. The seat, not terribly bad. I actually the more I ride the seat, the better it feels. It's not bad. I added the rack on it. You don't have to do that. I've added different riser bars to put it more in my position. Actually, I just rode the Concord e-bike with the upright handlebars and more of a seating position that kind of balanced the pressure on my hands and the pressure on my rear a little more. More rear heavy than front, because I have trouble with my hands wanting to fall asleep from the pressure. So I've changed my position, and it is so much better. But there again, everything on here is upgradable. This isn't something that you go and buy at Walmart and go, well, I can't buy anything at the bike shop because nothing's going to fit it because it's a Walmart bike. Those days are gone with the Ozark Trail and the Concord e-bike. Those days are gone. Now, when it comes to e-bikes, I want to speak a little bit on the e-bike side. Buy your e-bike. I don't even want to say this out loud, but go to your regular bike store and buy an e-bike from them, because they have the access to get electronic parts for your e-bike that if you buy it off Walmart.com, I'm going to learn more. Not saying this is the final word on this. I'm going to learn more. I'm working with Phoenix Cycles USA, which provides the Ozark trails and the Concord e-bikes and other bikes to Walmart. And I sent an email off just this morning. We're going to see how responsive they are and how soon they get back to me on their stuff. And the support is the big thing, right? So there again, the air fork here is nice and supple. We added that on there, added fenders, added my little horn, added the turn signals, added my own ding ding bell, added my own rearview mirror. These are all upgrade things that you want to do to your bike. Now, some people might be saying, well, Michael, I don't work on bikes. You don't yet, but why not try? It's better to try and fail than not try at all, in my book. And looks like I got my CAD inspector out here putting his approval on the bike, I think. But I love this color. This color on this e-bike, or this e-bike, this bike is great. The tires feel thin, but they're gravel bikes. They're not they're between the road tire and mountain bike width. But they ride decent. They ride nice. And I ain't kidding you. I rode yesterday with the same fork on my e-bike, and I hit some things in the trail that were a little rough that would normally kind of like jar your arms a little bit more. And you feel it just soaked it up. And there again, these aren't designed for heavy off-road use. These forks are not designed for. They do have the version that does that. You can already see how much of the travel I used right here. That's how far, just doing what I did in the yard here, that's how much it did. Well, that's not too bad. I hit a couple of bumps out there. I hit the little apron on the front of my shop, and you're going to get that type of thing. It is chilly out here today. So, but that's all I'm going to say about this bike. Guys, get out there and try something, do something, get active. The riding bikes has helped me a lot. It's building my cardio back up. I feel stronger and better. You know, diet and exercise is everything. That's a slug. That is a slug that came off the tire. Look, I can't believe that. I can't say I've seen slugs around here. It was on the seat stay right here. And this little guy here is trying to find it, aren't you? You're heavy. Did you eat a big breakfast this morning? Did you eat a big breakfast? I think you did. All right. Whoops. Easy Tiger. That's not his name. I don't know his name. My wife's got all the cats named. I only know the name of one, Blake. He's my buddy. This one's trying to be my buddy too, though, so I can't complain about that. Anyway, you can ride the bike as is, no question about it, or you got room to do all kinds of fun stuff. So pick your poison, enjoy yourself, get out there and have some fun. Get out there and enjoy some bike trails. A lot of cities have a lot of good bike trails to enjoy that aren't mountain biking trails. No claws, please. And there again, $278. Put it together, ride it, enjoy it. And then if you think you like it a lot, you're not into it, you didn't get a heavy investment in here, right, guys? Not a heavy investment. But you can go and say, I want to put a suspension seat post on here. I want to put front suspension on it. I want to put a rack on it with some bags. I want to be able to go somewhere, have a picnic, take a sandwich, and stop, after 20 miles of riding, and then eat, take a snack, relax, enjoy the weather, enjoy the scenery, and then ride back. And, this has room for 3 bottle cages. Well, 2 here and 1 down here. I've never needed more than, I've had 3 on my road bike because I did some long distance riding and on hot days, and you need all the water you can get. And I would take 1 bottle not froze and the other 2 bottles froze solid and put them on the bike on hot days. By the time you got done with the one, the other one was still had some coolness in it. And just a thought, little tech tip and trick from yours truly. All right, I'm excited to get this out on the trail again, do some more riding. And I don't think there's any other modifications I'm going to want to do to this particular bike. This one here, I am very satisfied with it. After I rode it the 30 miles that I've ridden it, I knew exactly what I wanted to do to it. And there again, I watch a lot of bike videos. Berm Peak is one. Bike Farmer is another one. Very informative when it comes to working on and maintaining and doing things on your bike. If you're afraid to work on your bike, watch those guys. Watch what they do. You can mimic it. And you might say, well, Michael, you have all the tools. I haven't had all the tools my whole life. I bought these tools over years and years and years of buying tools. And I continue to do that because most of the tools I buy, I use in other, I use in other locations on cars, trucks, bikes, equipment, lawnmowers. I use these tools everywhere. So anyway, fun, and fun. All right. Folks, this is Michael saying, if it ain't broke, fix it till it is. We'll see you on the next video if I'm lucky. And be good to one another out there. Enjoy the camaraderie of other people that enjoy the same sport. You'll run into the nicest people on bikes. There's always going to be jerks. They're out there, but they're less than 1% of the population, honestly. So you're going to find more good people than bad people 99 out of 100 times. All right. Be good. I'm out.